Timesheet and payroll solution for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. It's going to be a demonstration of our Journyx CX timekeeping solution, along with the Primo Payday solution, which is a fully integrated collection of programs that are designed to work seamlessly between Journyx and Primo. My name is Andrew DeBurrow. I am a sales executive here with Journyx. Joining me today is Whit Lester with Primo Payday.
Glad to be here.
So we're going to get into the demo, and I'm going to show first an employee that's going to be clocking in and out, as well as doing some other functionality. And then we're going to then go into some administrative functionality within the CX platform, at which point, once I go and run the pay period end process, we'll send it over to Whit to go through the payroll processing. So let's get started with the Journyx CX solution. Log it in as an employee. And so when we're entering the system, we have pretty basic information here because again, this is an employee. Now our timekeeping solution can be used on time clocks, a mobile app, and in this instance, we're going to show you the use of our web clock interface. Web clock is a PC-based solution, and it can be configured with defined buttons, function keys to allow the employee to choose what it is that they need to do at the time clock. So this particular employee has already clocked in today, but the system knows that too. So it can be designed to be interactive. When the employee tries to clock in, it'll actually let them know that they've already punched in. And perhaps I meant to actually start a break right now. And so now when I've started my break, it's letting me know that the break has started, and it's stopped my worked hours and perhaps put me onto an unpaid time, since most breaks might be considered unpaid. Or if it is a paid break, it can be designated as such. And then other functionality that you might get as an employee could be to view your pay period hours. I can check my time off information. That could be data that we seamlessly send from Primo into Journyx, or it could be something that is captured within Journyx as well. I can also put in my requests for time off, and then I can check the status of a time off request. Web clock itself can be a standalone function, or it could be an integrated solution within the portal that you're looking at in this example. Now, as an employee, I might still have visibility to my time card, but it's going to probably be restricted as to what it is that I can do. And since I'm at the beginning of the pay period, I might only see my one day, but I could perhaps go back and look at prior pay periods. And so I can go back to the 2-week pay period before, and I can see all of my ins and outs. If I have any breaks, they'll be captured within here. And then obviously, if I have any paid time off, such as vacations or holidays, that'll be captured within the employee time screen as well. And then when it goes to putting in things like time off requests, I could do that at the web clock. I could also do that through the portal. So I'm going to put in a request for time off, simply have to create my new request. And now I can also see other information like any time that I might have committed, what's my balance over here. And again, that can all be data that is imported and integrated from Primo's accruals engine as well. So I'm looking to take some time off. We'll say going to take the August 4th Friday off, and just going to be for one day. We need to put in how many hours per day that's going to debit from our balance. So I'm going to say that I'm going to take a full day here. And we're going to select our type of time off that we're looking to leave. And so that's going to be PTO. I can also put in a note as to why I need that time off, which would come through with the request, or I could leave it without the note. And I will simply accept that. And now this will be sent to my manager or supervisor, who is going to look at that request and then either approve or deny that request. I, as the employee, will also get a notification once my time off has been approved or denied. The other thing that we see here too is the status of it from the employee's perspective. Obviously, I just submitted it, so it's still pending. If I did put in a note, it would be shown here. And as the supervisor, if they too have the option to put in a note, I could see their response within the system. So now I'm going to go in as the manager or supervisor for this particular employee. And do some administrative functionality within the time and attendance. First thing that you're obviously going to notice is additional functionality that I did not have at the employee level. Now that I'm in here as the manager, supervisor, I am going to see my employee dashboard, which is going to show me real-time visibility as to the status of the employees that I have working for me. We can see that there are employees who are clocked in. Those are highlighted in green. I have employees that are on break in yellow, and anybody who is not clocked in is going to show up in red. These are all interactive, so if I need to filter it, I can. So I can see just those employees that are working. There's Austin on break, and here's my list of employees who aren't here. Now, from this point of view, I can see that there are really these employees with no recent activity are perhaps the ones I'm most concerned about. I can see that Tyler was already working and clocked out today at 1:30. I also have the ability to view all of these employees and then go back in time to look at the employee time transactions that took place, say 2 weeks ago, or if I need to go back to the beginning of the year, I could do that as well. So if I want to go and look at the start of the year, I could say what was going on basically January 9th at 3:15. And so the system will show me those employees, who was clocked in, who was on break, and who was not. The employee breakdown is going to give me detailed information about the different groups, departments, and positions, and the employees that are working within those. So we can see here that our home office is taking up the majority of our hours compared to our overseas office. And who are those employees? Well, here's a list of those employees right here. Same thing with departments and positions. We can see the tech support as well as technicians are taking up the most number of hours. We also have the ability to see things like transactions. So we have 4 people that left early on Friday. We also had 2 people that came in late. All this is interactive information. So we click on the dashboards, it's going to pull up the information about those employees. So in this case, we can see that we had 2 employees who came in late and they also left early. This too allows you to go back and look at historical perspective. So if I want to go back just 1 week, I can do so. Or if I want to go back to any point in time that I've really collected data within the system, I can do that as well. When I have pending requests, they'll be sent over in the order in which they were received. So I could see that Emma submitted this request ahead of Austin. And we can see when she's looking to take her time off. She's looking to take Thursday, August 3rd, as well as Friday, August 4th. We can see when it was submitted, as well as other information such as the employee notes, when that was submitted. So we can see here, this employee did actually put a comment in, said that they're taking a long weekend. Before I go ahead and approve or deny this request, I might want to compare that to our out of office calendar so I can know for sure that I can give this employee the day off. When I click on that, I can see that I've already had Jessica off that one particular day, but we know that my department's large enough that I can have more than just one person off. So I'm going to go ahead and approve that. When I do so, this employee will be notified that their time off has been approved, and I can go about moving on to my next request, which in this case would be Austin. Same thing, I can see, well, now I've got 2 people that are off that day, and so I might want to go ahead and actually deny this particular request, and I can give an explanation. So I can say, sorry, there's too many people that are off that day, and when I deny that request, that note's going to come back to Austin, so he will know for certain why he didn't get his time approved. And I've gone and completed my time off requests and approvals. Now, as far as time approvals go, we're looking at this right now in real time, and we're going to see a list of employees that have booked hours for this particular day. Because of the fact that this day is still going on, all of these time transactions are basically an open punch. We have 1 employee who has completed their day, so I could go ahead and approve that. I can also go back to the prior pay period and take a look at all the employee time transactions that need to be approved. We're going to call out any time exceptions within the system that need to be addressed. In this case, they're going to be highlighted in red. And basically, this is an indication that the employee clocked in but did not clock out. So I will click on this particular time transaction. And sure enough, we can see The employee did clock in at 8:15, but they did not clock out. And this is just a matter of company policy. We could look at their schedule to see when they did leave, or we can talk to the employee and find out that they left at, say, 5:15. If I need to make a note here to say why I adjusted that time transaction, I certainly can do so. And that will all become part of the system of record, which can be audited. I can go ahead and accept that. What's going to happen now is I have obviously changed this from a 0 hour, and the system's going to do all the math and update that for us. Once I've gone through, done my time edits, I can go about doing the approvals. So I can basically say, yes, I am approving all of these time transactions, and these will now be ready to be processed for getting the employees paid. So I'm going to approve all those, and it's going to go through and do my time approval for all of that pay period. And obviously I still have this one employee that I didn't correct, and I'll get to that in a moment. We can also see a difference between work time, break times. In this case, we have an employee that was out on vacation or PTO. And we can also look at our time overview, which is very similar to the time approval. So a time overview is going to just show, again, real time, the hours that the employees are working, any time that's already been approved for PTO. And so I can see as the week goes on, my various hours for the certain days. Time exceptions are going to be a number of things within the system. Whether we have employees on a schedule, we can see that they came in late, which is the case here for Michael and Emma, as well as Daniel. If we're going back a pay period and we have people on schedules, we can see that Carla is absent. So this is all information that allows me to basically see and track real time and after the fact employees' time transactions, whether or not they're correct, whether or not they're even showing up. And then when we create reports in the system, we can log those reports. We can come back here and we can take a look at those reports. If I no longer need it, like I have already run the pay period process, I want to get rid of that report, I can do so. Other popular reports within the time and attendance system are things like approaching overtime. And I can filter these reports to show me, things like employees who are approaching that overtime by what threshold. So in this case, I wanted to say, show me any employee that is going to have greater than 1 hour of overtime. And based on when we create that report and their schedules and what they're at, and as far as current hours, we can estimate how much overtime we're going to be seeing for that particular pay period and those employees. Same thing with exceptions. We can filter a number of different exceptions. In this case, I wanted to see employees who came in late and left early, as well as how many minutes late they were. And like I said, if you no longer need these reports, we simply delete them and they go away. Schedule versus actual is another popular report. We can basically see when somebody was supposed to be here and when they showed up and what their actual percentage is. So we can see here that we've got 2 people on the schedule that haven't shown up at all. So we might need to take some disciplinary action there. Other dashboard views, we can see the employee detail information over here. So I can see in this particular day, we've got what looks to be pretty good. I don't have anybody showing up as absent. If I need to go back to prior days, I can do so. And so we can see here now a breakdown of employees who were worked. Here are a list of those employees. I have people that were absent. There's Carla, as well as employees that had that day off. So we can see that Joshua, Alex, and Michael were all on PTO on that particular Friday. As far as some of the other nice functionality that we've built into Journyx CX, we do have this bulk assignment feature, which does make it very convenient and easy to make wholesale changes to a number of things like holidays and payrolls, schedules too. It's something that comes in very handy. We can see here I have a number of employees who are not on a schedule. So I'm just going to select those employees and put them on a schedule very quickly. And I will say that we're going to put them on the 8 to 4:30 schedule. Now I've got 5 employees who weren't scheduled that are on a schedule, but after I made that change, I realized I put them on the wrong schedule. I can simply undo that action, puts them back on no schedule, and I realized that's not the correct schedule, so I meant to put them on the 8 to 5 schedule. And now they're on the correct schedule that I've selected. And then when it comes to looking at our time card from the administrative point of view, we really can select from various groups, departments, positions, and I can see all those employees that I manage. And then I can actually go and look into their time records. So again, I can come in here and I have selected my own personalized view as this particular user compared to the view that I had at the employee level. And that can be done over here by information I've personally hidden. So I can decide, what do I want to see? Do I want to see the group information, the department, the position? All that can be selected by the user. I can also determine, do I want this panel hidden? I can decide, I want the weekly view, which I've done in this particular case, or do I want a summary view or a daily view? I'm also going to go back a pay period here, so I've got more information to be seen. And what you're going to see here is basically 2 full weeks of data for this particular employee. Now, if I want to get more information, I can simply click on that and it's going to show me all the detailed information for that particular day. I can also drill down to a day view and say what was going on day by day for this particular employee. I can also select multiple employees. So if I wanted to look at, say, Austin and Michael, I could do so. And it will select the employees that I have. It'll load their entire information that we have within the time card. And obviously that's going to be a little bit of information. So it's going to show me, again, here's Michael. Here's his week 1, his week 2. That's the end of his time card. Then we're getting into Austin. And so I don't need to see all those employees. So let's take a look at Michael's, because part of what we can do in conjunction with BC and get detailed information as far as the day work that the employee is doing, not just what it is that they're working on as far as clocking in and clocking out, but if they're putting in overtime, if they're getting breaks and all that information. But we can also look at their detailed, what we call labor records, and this is really the project time that they're working throughout that particular day. So I can see, a detailed breakdown of where Michael has spent all of his hours throughout that particular pay period. And then I can also come over here and view time off requests. If I didn't do it from the home page, I've already taken care of that. I can also, do my approvals. I could put in my own request as well, since I might need to put in a request as a supervisor that would get approved by somebody else. We can have as many schedules as you really need within the system, and we really offer a few different types of scheduling solutions. So we can have some default, we'll call it basic schedules, but we can also get into advanced scheduling where we're talking about things like shift rotations and basically demand-based scheduling. And so employees get assigned various schedules. Within schedules, you can do things like not just put in their start and stop time, but if we want to put their break times in here as well, and whether those are paid or unpaid, we can track all of that. And then you can have just basic information, like I'm only working from 8 to 3:30. And so this will all apply when it gets assigned to an employee. And then, like I said, there are a number of reports that come standard within the system. Here's that approaching overtime report that we ran before. So if I want to say, show me any employee who's going to be greater than 1 hour, that's how I do that. I will run that report, which is basically going to create a PDF, and it's going to pull up all the employees who match that criteria. And that exceptions report that we were looking at before, again, I wanted to see employees who were coming in late, leaving early, show me how many minutes late, as well as their total minutes throughout the pay period. The other thing that's great is we have the ability to schedule reports. So if this is a report that you want to see on some frequency, I'm going to set this up so that I get this report, say, once a week. I want to have this hit my inbox at, say, 7 a.m. The system will then generate that report and send it to the person or people that we have that sent to. And then finally, when it comes to actually processing time for payroll, we're going to come over here. We're going to do our pay period process. And so we're going to come in and we're going to select our pay period that we want to send over to Primo to get employees paid. So we're going to say that it's going to be from the 9th to the 22nd. It's going to be a 2-week pay period. Obviously, the file format is going to be all pre-configured within the solution, and then I'll simply go through and create that file, and then I'm going to have that file show up and look like this. That's the point that we'll send it over to WIT.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Well, let's look at the payroll side of things here. So, viewer, what you're seeing currently is the Primo Payday payroll solution. This is the role center for Primo Payday. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the hours detail page and actually view these time entries. So there's several different ways that users of Journyx and Primo Payday can import the time entries. There's a newly released automated process that, but what I'm showing you here is a little bit more of the manual side. But we offer these different options to be able to configure to your particular process and business needs. So Andrew created the time file from Journyx. So assuming you're not going to automatically import it, all you do is click home, click import, and then we'll select the Journyx file. And then once we do that, you'll see up here at the top, it's now been imported. So we now have all of those time entries from what Andrew was showing us here. And so this this particular table is called, it's more of a staging table for those hours. And once again, when it comes to flexibility within the systems, you as a user will have two choices. You can have the Journyx system not only calculating the time, but basically calculating earnings. And in some cases, we're going to be bringing in just the amounts to pay an employee. But another option is you can bring in the hours and any details associated with those hours. In this case, we have our department code and position codes. And the system itself, the payroll system itself, will be able to use information regarding the hours being worked and the different details, whether they're specific positions or unions or departments or work shifts or what have you. And the payroll system itself can then take that information and use that to calculate rates of pay, can use it to calculate overtime, etc. And if you would like to learn more about that, we'd be happy to show you a more detailed payroll demo. But right now we've got all the time entries from Journyx in the hours detail table. So what we'll do then is we will just go to the batch payroll process where we will create a batch. And you just create a batch, you click new, you select your pay cycle. In this case, these are biweekly pay cycles. We'll select the pay cycle itself, which in this case is this one right here. And then you will select your calc formula, filter by your employees if you want to do that. In this case, we'll have an hourly filter. And then you create your batch. And once you get your batch, it looks something like this. And so now we've got our batch of all our employees with all of their hourly rates of pay. And the one other point I'd like to mention for viewers on this particular batch is that we mentioned a minute ago that you can capture details from the time entries from Journyx, and those sorts of details can flow through and hit your ledger in Business Central using Primo Payday. And a way to show that is, for example, if I select Michael Harris and I want to go to his payroll document. This is what an actual payroll document in the payroll module looks like. You can see we've got hours from time entries coming in. If I select the earnings line and I go to payroll expense allocations, we can see how his time is being allocated by the department code and position codes that were captured from the Journyx time entries. And if there's any fluctuations of rates of pay, those would be reflected as well. So all of this information is being captured, and then you just go through your standard batch process. You select the employees, you select the payroll documents. You, if you're doing electronic deposit or direct deposit, you select your export to create a notcher file. If you're going to print any checks for anyone, you print all your checks, and then you email or print your check stubs, and then you're going to uh, post, and then all these entries post to the ledger in Business Central. And that's how simple and easy it can be when you're dealing with time entries from Journyx and the Primo Payday payroll system for Business Central. So Primo Payday and Journyx, we consider ourselves the premier timesheet and payroll solution for Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Business Central. You can always call Andrew or myself. We're always able to hand off questions to the correct person. But with Lester with Primo Payday, my phone number is 817-798-1259. Generally, I'm going to be more helpful with payroll related questions. And then Andrew DeBurrow, his phone number is 413-306-3891 with Journyx. And obviously, if you have any timekeeping, time scheduling, time and attendance questions, he's going to be your go-to resource. Andrew, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we end it for the day?
I really just appreciate everybody for checking us out. And obviously, if you're looking for an integrated time and attendance with payroll in Business Central, then give myself or Whit a call, and we'll be happy to help you out.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Whit.
All right, thanks everyone. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a good one.